It's a completely reimagined user interface. In fact, it is a generative UI. That means that it generates dashboards on the fly in a multimodal way. And rather than me talking about it, what I thought I'd do is I'd have our head of AI and platforms, DJ, come up on stage and give you a live demo of this. So DJ, come on up. All right, buddy.
All right.
What do you have to show us?
All right, thanks for having me here, G2. This is really exciting. I want to show you what the team's been working on, all right? Let's get into this. I'm going to hop in here. This is AI Canvas. What you're seeing here on the left-hand side is the AI assistant, where you can use natural language to be able to communicate with the canvas. And then on the right is where the agents and humans are going to work together to be able to solve problems. All right. Now let's imagine that there is a network outage, right? And you want to be able to start, troubleshooting this. Normally what happens is you actually have a ServiceNow ticket that's raised, and the ticket has all of the details about what's going on. What I'm going to do is I'm going to post this message here and tell the assistant to go fetch that data. And automatically you'll notice that it's gone out to ServiceNow and pulled all of that information right here. Folks, just so you know, this is a live demo. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed as I get into this. Yep. Normally when an admin sees this, they have to now go to different screens to be able to go out and start troubleshooting. With AI Canvas, we're making this incredibly simple. I'm just going to type in here, troubleshoot this ticket. Now this is where it starts to get really cool. The deep network model that you just announced is going to start breaking down this ticket and analyzing that it needs more data. It now is going to go to Meraki and pick out the packet loss trends, and it's going to generate the UI for you. So you just saw that it created a widget that
widget was not something you built, it actually generated the widget.
AI generates that widget, recognizes that the next thing that you're going to need is a time series data. And so you can see it's constantly thinking right here at the bottom, and it's pulling data that it needs. It recognizes now that it needs data from Thousand Eyes, not just from Meraki, to be able to show you exactly a path visualization that tells you where this outage might be happening. Mm-hmm. And then as soon as you see that, you can see, boom, it's going to generate that path visualization for you and lays it all out. Now here's the other part. The assistant's also going to start giving you remediation suggestions of what you need to do to be able to start debugging this issue. But you also mentioned that troubleshooting almost always is a multiplayer sport. So if you wanted to invite other team members to jump in over here, it's really simple. You invite them to the board. I'm going to invite Lizzie here. And with a single click, it's going to generate a summary of all things that I have done so far. I don't have to sit down and type out an email to get Lizzie on the same page. And with a single click, Lizzie can jump on the board and start working together with me.
Completely collaborative.
Completely collaborative, completely multiplayer.
That's very cool.
All right. That's pretty cool, right? Okay. So here's the thing. Lizzie might come in and say, listen, I like how you're doing this, DJ, but you know what? I'm not so sure. I want to verify using another source of data. She might come in here and say, I want to correlate this with the application logs to see what's happening. Now, these logs are not inside of Thousand Eyes or Meraki, but these logs are inside of, say, for instance here, Splunk. What the deep network model is going to do, it's going to recognize that this data is not here and it needs to go to a different place, and it's going to pull that information and start to render that right here. It's going to happen any moment now. There it is. All right, and it's really simple. Here you could go ahead, drag and drop this into your canvas, and what you're seeing here is the performance of that application is starting to drop. That's your red line. And the blue line is indicating your packet loss percentage that's starting to go up. So clearly there's a correlation.
Yeah.
Exactly. So the interesting part about AI Canvas here is it's not just for monitoring. You can start to take actions just using the same console as well. And this is where the agentic ops kicks in. Let me show you how. Now back here, the assistant said, hey, you can go ahead, take these remediation actions. It says you got to configure a QoS policy on the MX device, right? So I'm going to go ahead, ask the assistant to apply the QoS policy, or the QoS stands for quality of service. And again, it's going to go out, identify exactly which device it needs to apply this to, or a set of devices, and it's going to automatically apply that and give me a widget that I can now go ahead, add back to my canvas. Now, there's something really cool over here. You'll notice that it actually says, it gives you an opportunity to revert a change. This is where we're making sure that there's always a human in the loop that can come in and change things up, based on what they're seeing. Now, back to the dashboard over here. Now that we've applied the cost policy and the agents are going out and doing the job for you, you want to make sure that these things are happening the way you expect it to. So I'm going to come back in here and say, hey, I want to keep track of this. I want to monitor how this change is affecting my environment, right? And this is where these things are not just a one-time widget. The Agentic Ops ensures that it's constantly going back out, fetching you live refreshed data, so it's always current whenever you come into this board. So, so you're going to see it's thinking right there, and it's going to pop back out in a second. But you're going to see that the graphs, the data from the Splunk and the application logic is going to go through a change. Boom. You notice that the packet loss has dropped.
Amazing.
And the application's back up and running. All of this was live, and finally, you have to write a report. Thank you. With a single click of a button, you're going to be able to generate a report, and you can add that report. And again, you don't have to sit down and write this. It takes a lot of time for the admins to do this. It's going to automatically generate that, and you can download that as a PDF, and you're off to the races.
Can I tell you a story? So when he said to me, he's like, Jeetu, I want to do this demo live. I'm like, are you sure? Because it's like, 20,000 people connecting to the same network. It's going to be embarrassing if it doesn't work. He's like, I don't think it's credible if we don't do it live. We have to do a live demo. And DJ Sampath. Hang on, you're not going anywhere. So when are you going to ship this?
This is going to be in the hands of customers by October of this year, right around the corner.
That's like, you're the longest time frame of anyone. Can you pull it up a little bit? You got like some people who are, do you guys want it earlier?
All right, all right.
You take it in, okay.
Here's one thing though. The deep network model is going to be available by the end of this month for all CCIE users at the Cisco U portal.
Good.
All right.
He redeemed himself. Let's give it up for DJ Sampath, folks.
All right. Thank you so much. Thanks, you too.
Thank you, buddy. Great job.